Welcome, everybody. It is AI Day in the T3 Live universe. My name is Michael Camo. I'm Director of Content for T3 Live. I'm here with my best friends in the universe, JR Romero and Sami Abusaad. And we have a very special guest, Charlie Moon from Prosper Trading, who we wanted to have on because it is AI Day. I mean, I'm sure everybody in the market knows Oracle is going absolutely wild. Palantir, Nvidia's up. And also, we just talked to the T3 Live audience, and we asked you guys, are you using AI? Overwhelmingly, the answer is no. 68.3% of you are not using AI. So, of course, we want to talk about why traders are or are not using AI in today's market. So, Charlie, I think we should start with you since AI is your thing. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and then specifically how you use AI in your own trading?
Sure. First and foremost, thanks for having me on. I started as a prop trader in 2007, July 2007. Perfect time to start learning about the markets. I've been able to survive until now. I run two programs here at Prosper Trading. One is utilizing a AI-based strategy. It's basically a large language model system, and the beauty of what this system provides, which I think a lot of people can, agree to, is that it saves a lot of time and research. What the system basically does every morning is going to spit out a bunch of names that is going to be triggered by several things: market conditions, trend-based opportunities, and technical-based structured setups. It provides a strategy, so you don't have to wonder how you should trade the name that's being showed up. And it gives you a back-tested, results-driven opportunity, so you can analyze some of that, data and incorporate that in relation with the charts. Now, charting is important. It's something that I really usher and teach because I'm a technical-based trader. I'm not a fundamentalist. And if the stars align up, the only thing that's left is whether we want to take that trade or not. So it's pretty nice, when I am doing my own due diligence and research. It's basically me scanning names, looking through names throughout the entire day for the possibility of a trade tomorrow. With the AI system, there's no research, there's nothing. It drops it on your lap, and then you just decide if you want to take the trade or not. So it's pretty nice to have as a trader. So that's really the biggest benefit, in my opinion.
Okay, so you're using AI basically as an automation tool?
Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily trigger the signals for us. We would still have to manually enter them, but it at least condenses down. So, there's God knows how many names are trading actively every day, but it's really just scanning the entire universe. You could filter things down based on, what exchange or what market it trades under, whether it's the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, the Dow Jones. You could whittle it down or filter it down based on liquidity. That's what I usually do because a lot of these are option-based signals. So, we want to have a option market where it won't be difficult to get out. We don't want $5 spread between the bid ask. We want something that's fairly tight, and some days that it'll produce names like it'll produce like 30, 40 names. Some days it'll just produce 5. So ultimately what it does is it takes the guesswork out of trading. It takes the whether you need to watch one specific stock. It just presents them 30 minutes after the open, and then all you have to do is just kind of briefly analyze and then figure out if you want to take these trades or not. There were some really interesting names yesterday. Palantir showed up on the list yesterday. SMCI showed up. Both are really big movers. We got into ARM 3 days ago on a short put spread, just cashed out at 50% gains. Right now, actually, what's on my radar is CMG. They have a signal called buy the sell-off, which is effectively a kind of falling knife trade, but you would take it with a diagonal, so you have a little bit of protection to the downside. And there's 2 different exit rules. One, if it rebounds and sustains that rebound, you could exit at the front month expiration, or if it's just a momentary bounce, like a lot of these are, They have an exit rule based on the RSI. When the RSI is greater than 40, you can look to take the money and run as well. So it's really structured. And again, it gives you a lot of context. It gives you the strategy. It just makes things a lot easier for traders.
Okay, now on the flip side, so Sammy, so you were saying when we were offline before that you are not using AI at all. Now, are you opposed to it for any reason, or have you just not found a use?
Charlie, thank you for sharing that. That sounds really interesting. It sounds like it's more you're using it as a scanner, like as a way to find ideas, and then you still go over the ideas and then figure out whether they're good or not. Is that so?
Yeah, so it's a variation in relation. I think what really deciphers or really what separates it from being just a scanner, because I use scanners as well, is the fact that they give you a specific strategy, which will give you the highest probability, and they give you a back-tested history. So it's only going to give you history from the last 3 years because it wants to be relevant in the more current market environment. You know, we all know that the market changed dramatically after 2020, and certainly the market was a lot different 5 years prior to that. The advancements of technology has really kind of changed the game. But in relation, with scanners, you have these preset conditions that'll trigger. Sometimes you'll get a list of like 150 names. So what really happens is that with these trigger points, it won't give you all of the names. One, it's only going to give you names that it's going to field, which is where the large language model comes into play, that will be successful based on the current market environment. So it'll take perhaps maybe 50 names that trigger and only offer up 4 or 5 of them. So it is a variation of scanners and filters, but that's part of the process. That's part of the underlying coding that the system uses within the large language model. And then it's trying to provide signals that they feel will be highly successful. So there may be a stock that was 8-0 over the last 3 years that'll actually get bypassed and not be showcased because the large language model will say, well, maybe this time around, or based on the market conditions or based on sector movements and possible money rotation, that this wouldn't be as good as a signal that may be 4-2 overall. So it may work. A lot of the times it doesn't happen that way. It'll flag the best of the best, but there will be times that you will see names excluded.
So Mike, thank you, Charlie. So back to your question. So this is why I haven't, I don't like to use, or I haven't used AI, because all I've seen is that it's just like a glorified scanner, and it spits out a bunch of things. Whereas with my own eyes, I can look at the charts that I have and the ideas that I'm stocking and find much better stuff in a much shorter amount of time. So that's why I haven't really been too keen on using AI in my trading, because I've even built custom scans for exactly what I do. And at the end of the day, I end up wasting too much time going through lists, like you said, 100, sometimes 150 items. And then I'm like, but in that time, I would have found several ideas on my own, just looking at the charts that I already have up and running. But it sounds like you got something sweet going on with it, Charlie. So I'm not there yet, but we'll check it out when I find time.
No, you are 100% correct. I've looked into this for about going on 9 years now. I can't tell you how many different platforms that I've gone through, and this is really why this one stood out. I think the best way that I could describe it is that a lot of AI systems are generally traders trying to tell a dev or an engineer what to do, what to look for, and then they try to replicate it, and then the trader's not happy. There's always something lost in translation. The individual that created this is an actual quant. He's consulted and works for multiple hedge funds, and he's an extremely smart individual. He's out of Silicon Valley, but there's nothing lost in translation because he was actually a trader that's also a computer engineer, web dev. So that's really where it kind of finally came into the kind of the perfect symmetry that you need. But I'm with you 100%. There's always something lost in translation. It's always a lot of underlying like research that we do that really doesn't lead to much. So I'm 100%, in agreement with what you were saying.
Yeah, and I'll throw out the question to the audience again. Are you using AI yourself in your trading? Just type a yes or no in the chat. Yeah, and like building on what Sami said, so when we did ask people who are using AI, it sounds like they're doing exactly what you could do in Excel or FinViz or like any kind of scanning. So it sounds like people, I guess it's almost more of a productivity tool and not necessarily idea generation. Okay, JR, how about you? Have you delved into AI yet for any part of your trading? JR, you're muted.
I did that on purpose. I wanted to make sure you were paying attention, Mike.
I'm always paying attention.
First of all, it's a pleasure to have Charlie with us today. I'm willing to bribe him with bagels and orange juice so he can give Sami and I, the troglodytes in the room, a nice demo of what he's doing. I'm always curious. That's great. As a trader, I always tell my traders that they have to find an edge in the market. I don't care if it's ooga booga sticks or looking through tea leaves in a cup. Okay. Once you find an edge in your market and you find your edge in the market, whatever it may be, hang on tight, baby. Okay. Because most people never find it. Okay. So if that type of heuristic scanning is your thing and you find that edge that works for you, I think that's fantastic. And I think that's great. In terms of, by the way, just a side, I'm just super curious. Are you related to Dr. G.U. Moon by any chance?
No, but I
Okay.
wish I was.
Okay, he was my machine learning professor. I have nightmares about that set of classes. Okay. Anyways, I think AI has a variety of super useful purposes on the algorithmic side for sure. The heuristic side, in terms of heuristics, I think that if you put together a model that understands the heuristics relative to the technical analysis and a bunch of other important inputs, I think you can start to put some interesting models together. Unfortunately, as you all know, AI lacks the ability to reason thus far, right? It's a mixture of algorithmic and heuristic models that come out with spit out solutions that may best represent what a human with reasoning capabilities would come up with. Would they have the ability to hold massive data sets in their brain, sort them algorithmically, and then spit them out heuristically? But unfortunately, we don't have that capability. So I find that people who like trade, for example, algorithmically, have a huge edge in the market as far as, for example, speed of execution and finding algorithmic markers. When they get into trying to, for example, algorithmically read the news and heuristically try to figure out what the heck that means, they misread the market enormously. I'm sure you guys have seen on earnings, especially you, Sami, you trade earnings a lot, right? You'll see an amazing earnings report with like awesome guidance, and the algos just completely go the wrong way, get murdered, and then the stock goes a different direction. And that's, in my opinion, the lack of reasoning and heuristic analysis in AI that still is a major problem. I use AI a lot in my back testing. I think it's super helpful, but I found that I've had to write my own tools. I haven't found a back testing tool that consistently works for me yet off the shelf. That being said, I think it's going to be more and more adopted over time as LLMs grow in the finance field and so on and so forth.
JR, did you say AI can't reason? My chat GPT seems to reason a lot.
AI does not reason, no.
Oh, it reasons quite well with me.
It's a predictive model thus far. It's going to reason, and that's going to get very scary.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's just rewriting what it just saw on Reddit. So
Well, we're
Be
not
very
at
careful what you feed AI for sure. It's like the gremlins. Yeah.
yeah. So Charlie, do you have trouble like getting traders on board with AI? Because I've like just suggested to traders taking a trial to a different charting software, and you'd think, and that's like asking them to like get a leg removed or something. Like, is it hard to get traders on board with AI, especially if they've been sort of like stuck with certain tools for a long time?
Yeah, that's it's a great question. Ultimately, proof is in the pudding, right? And it's a result based theory, and respectfully, when they see the results, you know, money is always going to help change trader mind really quickly. So, if the AI system is running really good and we're just constantly nailing it, it won't take long for people to be believers. And it's the same thing. Maybe they take the first AI trade and it doesn't work out. They could quickly become a naysayer. It's just kind of the way that human psychology works. Ultimately, it's never going to be. And I always tell this to people that are new to me, that don't judge me on one trade, judge me on, a month's worth of trade or 6 months worth of trade, see the entire body of work. Because, obviously in our industry, it just takes, one trade to make someone extremely notable or to make someone a real believer in whatever you teach. But ultimately, it's the entire body of work, whether they're going to continue being a believer, whether it's your system, whether it's AI, or whether it's just in your analysis. So, being in the industry, and being a coach, I understand that I'm always going to be judged on my very last trade, and that's just something that I have embraced and understood. I try to prove my worth every day in some form or fashion to my students. Yeah, like I said, it just depends on when you catch me and whether I'm on a hot streak or a cold streak, I guess.
That's what I tell people around me. Judge me based on my total work.
Shouldn't it be judge me on my last trade if it was good, but if it wasn't good, then
Well, when they're judging you, judge me on the total.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So, last question on at least AI tools in trading. So, Charlie, do you find any issues with data integrity? We've seen hallucination problems in LLMs. I've seen ChatGPT and Grok and Gemini even fail to do mathematical calculations, very simple ones, correctly. So, are you ever worried about it spitting out the wrong things just because it's not assessing data correctly?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's something that that I have heard a lot about, because my wife she works for KPMG, and she is one of the upper management that's trying to integrate what AI and AI capabilities are. And there's a very powerful tech company, let's just say they're number one or number two in market cap, that they have a 5-year contract with. And that is one of the number one things that they have constantly had to work around, is the hallucinations. A lot of the variables is going to be cross-checked in relation to, let's say, the trade ideas, because I always tell people, and it's the same thing, computers aren't perfect, this system isn't perfect yet, we're not winning at 100%. So until we get to that point, you have to cross-reference everything, and we're always going to be looking at a specific checklist. We're always going to be looking at certain chart structures and opportunities, and they have to line up. And if they don't, then that generally will exclude those trade ideas. It's not a rules-based system where A plus B equals C, but certain things have to really line up to make the route of profitability or the route to success a lot easier when you do take on these trade opportunities. And that again doesn't ensure that you're going to have a winning trade. So, when it comes to hallucinations in relation to, the data that comes out, sometimes there will be some variations that will be very different. Now, in relation to like marketing data, for example, that comes through ChatGPT or Grok or even Gemini, a lot of these will need specific API plugs that are directly plugged into the actual exchange to be able to get that data. That's really where this system stands out, because it is taking hardline data straight from the exchanges and then utilizing that in relation to the technical structures that are provided. That will disseminate it from like Grok and Gemini and OpenAI, because the node sources where they're looking for the primary source of data is very, very different as well. Google will probably just um, actually, if you actually Google like whatever stock data, a lot of the times it's like outsourced straight to like Yahoo Finance. And so if those are the node sources, then that's exactly what they're going to provide. However, Yahoo Finance doesn't have that actual technical layer base to provide the exact kind of data that we would be looking for as technical based traders. So hallucinations, there has been some variations, but not to the degree that I've seen, when you utilize like ChatGPT or Grok or Gemini, just because the primary source of data is very direct and it's coming from the exchange as opposed to other outsourced, I don't know, websites that those GPT formations will look into.
Okay, all right. So our friend in the chat, John Mott, said this feels like a sales pitch. Yes, John, the sales pitch is about to begin. Our new AI trading program. It's only $49,000 per year. We hope you'll sign up, John. T3live.com/49K, and you can get our special AI program. But of course, John, feel free to leave if you don't enjoy the conversation. Okay, all right. Let's move on to AI stocks. So Oracle says it's going to spend it's going to get like $10 trillion in whatever revenue in 2030, 144 billion, I believe, in data center, cloud, whatever, and which has ignited the AI stocks already. Now, there has been some disappointments this earnings season. Nvidia was basically in line, I believe. ASML, Marvel, Micron were not that great. So, and any of you guys feel free to jump in, but like, what is the state of the AI trade right now?
Not sure. Like, what names should we be looking at?
Yeah, yeah. Like, is the future, because today, obviously, there's a big move. Like, is future?
If I could just expand on Oracle, the reason why Oracle's up so much is because they caught Wall Street off guard. And I'm not saying that Oracle is ready to make, a parabolic move here, but the last time that I saw a company that caught Wall Street this far off guard was when Nvidia first announced their earnings report, where they were like $8 billion ahead of guidance, and the Wall Street was like, what? And that was really kind of the start of the AI boom. Now with Oracle, we're seeing, and their projection is year over year, 70 to 80% growth going on for the next 5 years with their RPO. They're introducing an AI cloud infrastructure data center specific to AI at the end of this year. And, their projection of growth really caught Wall Street off guard, because Wall Street kind of felt like AI was starting to slow down. And so for me, if anything, this is now reopening the idea that this isn't a fad, that this is actually here to say that more and more companies are looking to integrate AI. I know that for an absolute fact, that people are, when we talk about CapEx, it really is going towards AI integration. And, it's not to say that every company that's surrounding AI is going to benefit, but it's going to benefit those powerhouse names, Nvidia, notwithstanding. So, we saw Oracle make this jump. It's almost outrageous to think that a company like Oracle is up 40%, turning Larry Ellison, the richest man in the world, over Elon Musk overnight. But this is a pretty eye-opening earnings report if if what they say is really going to be true.
Okay, we remind me we have to start a GoFundMe for Elon Musk. We can't have him falling to number 2. Very, very sad. Okay, so JR, you and I have discussed, of course, AI many times. Do you think this Oracle news can sustain the AI names?
Yeah, I think you can. I said the same thing to my room this morning, Charlie. I said Oracle is having its Nvidia moment today. That very famous earnings report, and this is why you're seeing this unexpected move. It completely caught the market flat-footed with 332 billion in bookings. I think was the number, and it's the largest, the biggest booking numbers I've ever seen in software. But I think what really was the fundamental shift there was that the business model has shifted toward the data center as a data center operator. And, we're seeing a lot of weird business model shifts. The day before yesterday, we had a corrugated cardboard company become a crypto treasury and go up, whatever it was, 300,000%.
Yeah,
I think it was Octo or some not. But just like we're seeing a lot of companies reaccommodate in that sector, I think Oracle, which has been seen as the sort of the Dell of the data storage world, Oracle, known for its database, of course, has made a epical shift into being a data center operator, which is the main vein of everything AI, of course. So despite the gross margin headwinds, I think the EPS targets are off the hook, and CAGR 31% through 2021 to 169 billion just lit the world on fire. And I think that we're going to see more and more surprises like this. I think we're going to see all over this space major surprises like this.
Okay, Sami, what do you think? Are the technicals telling you anything?
The technicals, I've been saying that, we brought you brought up this question: is it a fad? Is it gonna stay? Is it here to stay? And the technicals don't say that it's a parabolic move at all. It does look sustainable to me in the long term. So that's what the technicals tell me, especially when we're looking at the chart of Nvidia, which is the leader. So I don't think it's so I think it's here to stay for sure.
Okay, all right. Let's talk a little bit about the broader market. And we can do this quickly. CPI tomorrow. We got a light PPI today. Job market looks like it's in the shitter. And, everybody seems set on the Fed cutting rates in September. So, and again, I'll just throw it out to you guys. What is your sense of the broader market trend right now?
Very bullish, but lacks the momentum. So there's not much momentum at all, but it still remains very bullish. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, you can't really short this market. It's hard to go long because of, realistically, it just seems like everybody's kind of on eggshells and a little worried, buying the tops and anything that kind of comes down the pipeline in terms of news. They're just ready to liquidate and then just buy back in. It looks like the markets initially yesterday was only pricing in the possibility of 2. After the PPI data today, it looks like now there's a little bit more, optimism that we're going to try and go for 3 rate cuts. I'm still in the ballpark that we're only going to do 2. That's what the Fed has signaled. That's what the dot plot signals. But, the market has always operated on hopium. And if we actually get our first rate cut in September, it still introduces or keeps the idea alive that 3 rate cuts could be a possibility, because we can't have 3 rate cuts unless we have our first one in September. So I think that, I've been telling people to be a little bit cautious on looking for an explosion off the first rate cut. it might be one of those buy the rumor, sell the news events where the news comes out and the market actually works lower. But I think that'll be very temporary. I think that'll be. I think that we're still going to, pushing into the all-time highs, because what else is this market going to do right now?
Okay, JR, very quickly, what do you think of this big, beautiful bull market?
I love it. Every morning I just scan for the word treasury, buy it, knock myself unconscious, and make anywhere between 100 and 400% when I wake up and hit the sell button. It's great. So there's momentum everywhere. There's momentum everywhere. But as far as the indices, Sami is 100% correct. We are in a bull market that's grinding higher, and we're waiting for several catalysts to really propel us higher with momentum.
It's also the summer doldrums. I mean, September is the slowest month of the year every single year.
And it doesn't look like September, does it, Sami? So far.
Some of the small cap stocks are going nuts, right? But otherwise, it's really slow. But October is earnings season, so that's around the corner, and the cycle repeats. It'll be good again for a couple months, and then around the holidays it slows down, and then January, the new year, that's usually when we begin a new move. If you go back and look at when we bottomed, most years it's January. So that's trading for you. There's a bit of routine to it, but there's also knowing when to push it and when to lay low. So right now is the time for me, at least, to pick my battles wisely and lay low.
Yeah, I think I'm going to float a theory that there is a Trump put for volatility, not necessarily for price, but we should operate under the theory that things will never stay quiet for too long, because he's gonna kick the sandbox like at some point. So there will always be something. Okay, all right. So before we close out, let's talk about ideas. So Charlie, we sort of have a tradition. So I'm holding on to my 5 shares of Tesla, and I'm always thinking about selling them, and I need to put that $1,500 to work somewhere. So who has ideas? Who loves stocks? Who hates stocks? What are your favorite ideas right now?
So I got my charts up and running if you want to.
Sure.
So some ideas. A few of the China stocks that I talked about last week, I was out, but the week before exploded already. BABA got to target just yesterday, actually, at 148. So some of the China stocks are good. They look good, but a lot of the best ones probably are gone. Here's one that we're in from $19, but looks still higher, the BZ. So I like it higher still long term. Another one that we got in yesterday at 12 is the WB. It could, it might work. It's trying to turn the corner on the monthly chart. This is the monthly chart of WB, which again is another China stock. So I like some of those China names. But there are also some other names that I like. We're in the CNC, but really it just got started. UNH. So this one looks good over yesterday's high, which is 31.10. Stop. Yesterday's high is 31.15 with a stop under today's low, which is 29.98. So as a 1, 2, 3 play, I'm going to be looking to add shares to it, already in it from this day, but we'll be looking to add shares to it. I think UNH is higher to 400, 410 or so on the UNH. I had it in the newsletter the day before yesterday as an idea, so that looks pretty good to the 200. But right now, the one with the setup is CNC. I like the grab long term, but not short term. Monthly chart looks good, I think. But again, more as a long term play. Talked about the UNH, talked about the CNC. Another China name that I'm not in, that I'm stalking, is the KC. Look at the weekly chart. That's a beauty. So I like it a lot. Maybe tomorrow over the high of yesterday's high, I guess, with a stop under today's low as a 1, 2, 3 setup. I don't remember what the SATL is. Okay, it's trying to break out. I don't know if it's going to go for it or not. Decent chart, but I need to set up an alert up here so that I'm alerted in case it pops. This is another China stock that I like, that I'm stalking, but not in love with it yet. Maybe if it can take out like 305 or so, with a stop under this red bar's low. This is a buy setup with a W pattern. PLRX, I don't even remember what it looked like. Okay, it's a decent weekly on the PLRX. Decent weekly, a lot of room on the monthly. The daily is a little bit messy, so this is more of a longer term in case it breaks out over the base. And then the Bizan is another China name that I'm watching long over 410 with a stop under the big green bar as a long-term play. So some of these are longer-term plays. The Bizan is one of them, and some of them are shorter-term plays. But that's kind of my list. I did scan the earnings list while Charlie was talking about AI, and then there's a couple of names that look okay as far as the earnings earnings plays go. And QMCO, that's not bad as a long. I like it. It's transitioning, and then has a red bar, which I like the day before earnings. I like the ANET. Oh, no, ANET. Let me take a look. Yeah, ANET is very, very thin, but is that what I get? Sorry, AENT. AENT. This is the one that's super thin, but looks pretty good as an earnings play. And then LOVE looks interesting as well as a long into earnings. My favorite would be the QMCO long. I like the AENT too, but it's super thin. And then I have one short, which is the OXM. So the OXM I'm looking to do, and then the QMCO I'm looking to do. If the AENT, if I get comfortable with the liquidity, I might do, but I don't think I will be doing the AENT. So one short, one long in the QMCO. The rest are just kind of ideas or watches in the AENT and the LOVE. And that's my list.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Sami. Okay, JR, anything you like up here?
Yeah, a few things already went. I'm sharing my chart, so can you see them?
I'll pop them up.
Yeah, so yesterday we called the reversal in Palantir. You're into really thin structure here. I think we get to top of value at 173 and a quarter. And if we rebase it, I can see us going to 200. I know it sounds crazy. I know it's out of favor, but I think we're getting ready for a new run. We called the bottom in CrowdStrike on Friday, called the long on Monday, and I think you have a move back to 465, and perhaps 480, 490. UNH, we went long a couple of weeks ago, but the reason I'm calling this out is now that you've got a bit of an air gap there. I can see this going back to 4 and a quarter, 425 or so daily 200. This looks like a very nice transitional move. Next, YMM. This YMM Trucking Alliance finally broke through its buy zone. It's consolidating. See a move to 16, 17. TEL technically triggered the VCP already, the volatility contraction pattern, and I'm looking for this thing to make a move to 280, maybe 300. Boyd Gaming still building a base, almost like an ascending triangle here. Break of 87, 83, I think looks great. SMA, we went long on this one on our swing service today. This is a recent issue, more or less, and it's breaking out of its base. I'm looking for a move to 45, 49. It's not the most voluminous of names, but I think it's going to go. IonQ, this one we called out yesterday for a long through 42, 46 and an add through 48.89. And I'm looking for $80 on IonQ. It's certainly helping that we're back in AI craze. The fad continues. The Carlyle Group, again, not the most exciting mover, but you're about to break out of a really strong reaccumulative base here, 65.97. And I'm looking for the measured move off the pivot low at 47.81. So that's almost a 20 to 18 point measured move to 83 or so. So that looks really good. CNP looking for a curling wedge to form, and Center Point Energy. I like the initial entry at 80, 38 and 11 or so, and then the add through 39.40. SoFi, bear with me. I know this one's a little bit controversial. So I think when SoFi takes all-time highs out of this space, I think we're going to see a move to like $55, 56. This one looks extremely strong. So I'm waiting to see what happens on the breakout. Hilton Nationwide Holdings. I don't like the fact that you've tested the 21 in 4 days. So the technicals are weakening a little bit here. But if we tighten a base over 275 and start to hold a tight base, that's going to be the sign of recumulative strength I'm looking for. And then I'm looking for a move to 324 and potentially 351. Finally, you got two more. NFG. You're building a bit of a bullish wedge here on the daily. Very strong trending move, and I'm looking for a $20 measured move to approximately 110 on NFG. And last one, TAC. So you had a two-wave corrective off of accumulation off the lows here, pivot low 790. You have a really nice tight reaccumulative base with a flat top break through, I believe, 1281. So that one's on watch for a breakout too. And this is obviously a continuation pattern. I would be looking for a retest of 1264. If it takes out that base there, then another move to 20. So that's what I'm looking for there in TAC. A lot of opportunities in the market, but I have to agree with the team here that the momentum in the indices has been an issue. Not so much intraday, but the daily moves in the ATR has been tough to manage. A lot of slow tape after 11 o'clock. You got to be careful.
Okay. All right, Charlie, we will close out with you. Is there anything you like here?
Sure. I can share my chart as well if you want to let me.
Sure.
All right. So hard to find great value in the market.
Charlie, if you want to share your screen, you have to hit. There's the monitor icon at the bottom.
I got you. I thought I did. I just hit share right now. Did that come up? It might not. Oh, you know what? It might be because I'm broadcasting. Hold on.
You don't necessarily need charts, though. You can just spell it out. That's fine.
Okay, so I
can bring up the chart,
crypto names. In particular, I think Coin is trying to make a move here. I'm not so much in love with MSTR or Circle, but I would say that BMNR, SBET are two names to watch. The problem with them is that they had these really crazy parabolic pumps, and they've come so far off those highs. And if you're familiar with any of these stocks that have made these kind of moves, unfortunately, there's a ton of bag holders. So anytime any of these stocks get any lift, we get people trying to sell into those moves. So that's going to be really difficult. But, BMNR, SBET, I'm a big fan of IREN. That's another one that has a lot of ties to AI. HUT, HUT is another one with a lot of ties to AI. A really sneaky one to keep an eye on is going to be Galaxy, GLXY. I also think that BLSH is starting to bottom out. I'm not sure they've actually found a bottom per se, but this is another one that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. I think BLSH in particular has some key levels to break above. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to pull it up right now. I think the first one's going to be above 55.75. I think that's going to lead to a nice little $5-6 pop. And I think the eventual break is going to be right around the $60 price. Once it breaks free from 60, this is where we could see these IPOs pivot off of their 52-week lows. And this one might be a little bit tougher, but a lot of the times they reverse back to the IPO highs. And, if history ever, wants to repeat itself, anytime a stock takes out its initial IPO high after it's pulled back, that's where the real explosive move could take place. This is a Peter Thiel back name. So, obviously it could be a darling for the retail traders. I normally look at like a lot of the semiconductor names, a lot of the cloud names, but there's one I'm going to throw out here that may be extremely surprising and may not even be that familiar for people. But PLCE, Papa Lima Charlie Echo, Children's Place. I'm not a fan of the company. I'm not really a fan of retail names, but they're getting really interesting off of the lows. Anytime we see these W reversal patterns off of the lows, it really indicates a trend reversal. It's approaching their 200-day moving average, which they got really close to today. And, I'm not going to say that's the make or break point. That's right around $7.60, give or take. But, a lot of the times when these names start breaking through their 200-day moving average, this one has the profile to get a little parabolic. Two things that really stand out. Number one, their float is really low. It's around 6 million shares. And number two, they're one of, if not the most shorted name in the markets right now. I believe 50% or more of their shares are shorted. So, when we combine those two plus retail interest, we see these fast gains. We got to see how it behaves and interacts right around this $8 price. But if it starts to spike above $8, I like a fast jump to around $11, $12. I think in the best case scenario, this thing's going to top out around 17, 18, take the money and run.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Charlie. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining us. Charlie, thank you for being our special guest and illuminating us to the power of AI. So everybody, thank you for joining us. And
Nice to meet you, man.
Great to meet you guys.
Yes.
Charlie, we have a lot in common. You started in July 2007. I started in April. Your wife worked for KPMG. I used to work for KPMG.
Oh, man, beautiful.
So there you go.
There you go, sir.
There's obviously some glitch in the matrix going on here. We need to be a little careful. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week. Everybody have a wonderful day and good luck with CPI tomorrow.
Take care.